Can you believe that I said that some of the most baffling engineering feats on Earth were built thousands of years before blueprints, steel, or modern math existed? Across deserts, mountains, and forgotten coastlines, ancient builders shaped stone, moved impossible weights, and designed systems that still confuse experts today. These structures weren't accidents or lucky guesses. They were intentional, precise, and often far ahead of their time. Even with lasers, computers, and heavy machinery, engineers still debate how many of this work were achieved at all. And you are about to see them, so let's dive in. Number 15. The forgotten treasure beneath a Hindu temple. This one did, by accident, and at a scale nobody was prepared for. In 2011, one such find was uncovered beneath the floor of a 16th-century Hindu temple in southern India. Hidden behind secret entrances were vaults filled with unimaginable wealth. Diamonds lay piled in sacks. Gold coins were stacked beside statues of deities plated in gold and encrusted with precious stones. The total estimated value exceeded $20 billion. Archaeologists believe the treasure accumulated gradually over 1 to 2 centuries, donated by wealthy patrons and rulers before being sealed away and forgotten. By law, discoveries of this scale belong to the Indian government, yet multiple religious and political groups have contested ownership. What began as a routine inspection turned into one of the largest treasure finds in human history. Number 14. Aramu Muru, the gate that goes nowhere. High in the Peruvian countryside near Lake Titicaca stands a stone wall carved with a doorway that leads nowhere. Known as Aramu Muru, the site was discovered in the early 1990s by mountaineering guide José Luis Delgado Mamani. The doorway measures 6.5 feet tall and is cut into solid rock with a distinctive T-shape. Locals call it the Gate of the Gods. According to folklore, people who approach the doorway have vanished into the stone, while tall, luminous beings have been seen emerging from it. No physical passage exists behind the carving, and archaeologists cannot explain its purpose. It appears unfinished, symbolic, or ceremonial, whether it was meant to represent a threshold, a ritual focal point, or something now forgotten. Number 13. Turkey's hidden Roman Colosseum. Imagine walking through a forest and realizing an empire was hiding beneath your feet. The Colosseum in Rome feels singular, yet in early 2021, archaeologists discovered a near-twin hidden far from Italy. During a scheduled survey in the ancient city of Mastara, Turkey, researchers uncovered a full-sized Roman amphitheater buried beneath soil, trees, and dense vegetation. Though less ornate than Rome's original, its circular form and construction style are unmistakable. When it was built, Anatolia was part of the Roman Empire, and similar structures once dotted the region. Most were destroyed over time, but this one survived precisely because it was forgotten. Protected by forest growth and earth, the amphitheater remained concealed for centuries. In its second-century prime, it could have held around 20,000 spectators watching brutal contests between gladiators, animals, and condemned prisoners. Number 12. Egypt's ancient pet cemetery. In February 2021, archaeologists working in the ancient Roman port city of Berenice in Egypt uncovered something unexpectedly tender. Beneath the sand lay the largest and oldest pet cemetery ever discovered. The site dates back nearly 2,000 years and contains the remains of more than 600 animals, primarily cats and dogs. Some were buried individually in pits covered with ceramics or wrapped in textiles to form simple sarcophagi. Among them were also macaques and baboons. Many cats wore collars made from glass and shells, remarkably similar in design to modern pet collars. Several animals were elderly at the time of death, some lacking teeth entirely, suggesting they were fed soft food by hand. These burials reveal a deep emotional bond between humans and animals, showing that companionship, care, and grief have remained constant across millennia. Number 11. The possible skeleton of Mona Lisa. A painting stares back at us, and the answer might be buried beneath a convent floor. Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa is the most famous painting on Earth, yet the identity of its subject has remained a topic of debate for centuries. In 2012, archaeologists believed they may have come close to an answer. Excavations beneath a former convent in Florence uncovered a 16th-century grave thought to belong to Lisa Gherardini, the woman widely believed to have inspired the portrait. Historical records suggest she spent her final years at the convent after her husband's death and died in 1542. Tests on the bones indicate the individual likely passed away around that time. Unfortunately, the remains were poorly preserved, stacked among several others. There was insufficient DNA for comparison with living descendants, and the skull was too damaged for facial reconstruction. Number 10. The Clover Leaf World Map. This map was designed to explain belief, not distance. Created in 1581 by German theologian and cartographer Hinrich Bunting, the Bunting Clover Leaf Map, also called the World in a Clover, is one of the most symbolic maps ever produced. Designed in the medieval Mappa Mundi tradition, it depicts the world as a three-leaf clover representing the Christian Trinity. Jerusalem sits firmly at the center, surrounded by Europe, Africa, and Asia, each forming a leaf. Europe appears in red, Africa in yellow, and Asia in green. Oceans encircle the clover and are populated with ships and mythical sea creatures. England and Denmark float above Europe as island forms, while the Red Sea is painted bright red. America appears separately as the New World. The map now resides in the National Library of Israel, with a mosaic replica displayed outside Jerusalem City Hall. And now let's jump to number 9, the Lost Romanian Citadel. All right now, imagine learning that an ancient city bigger than Troy was hiding in plain sight. If an ancient citadel spanning nearly half a square mile existed in Romania, you'd expect it to have been noticed long ago. Strangely, no one saw it until June 2018. The discovery was made in Arad County, and to be fair, the site is so vast that its remaining outlines are only visible from the air. Since then, archaeologists have conducted exploratory excavations and determined that the citadel dates back roughly 3,400 years to the Romanian Bronze Age. It has been named Seteve, meaning the Old Citadel. By any standard, it ranks among the largest fortifications of its era. Based on ancient comparisons, it's believed to be 3 times larger than Troy. Recently uncovered palace foundations measure 350 feet by 140 feet, placing the structure among the largest buildings of its time. Historians now face an unsettling question. Why was such a massive stronghold built here, and why does history fail to mention it at all? Number 8. Japan's largest Yayoi tomb. And this is where size stops being impressive and starts being suspicious. Dating from the late 2nd to mid-3rd century during the Yayoi period, the tomb measures an imposing 10 feet long and 6 feet wide, surpassing every other burial at the site. The stone sarcophagus inside stretches 8 feet in length and 2 feet across. Its lid is engraved with linear markings, including X-shaped symbols and hash patterns believed to offer protection. Remarkably, the tomb was untouched, suggesting it was never looted and may still contain significant grave goods. The Yoshinogiri site spans more than 430,000 square feet and has been under excavation since 1986. It contains settlements, workshops, granaries, and over 3,000 jar burials. This tomb stands apart from all others. Positioned on a hill once occupied by a Shinto shrine, it likely belonged to a figure of considerable power. Number 7. Norepe, the lost industrial settlement. Well, this is where that assumption quietly collapses. In eastern Turkey lies a modest site called Norepe, easy to overlook today but once central to the region's history. In 1968, German archaeologist Harald Hauptmann noticed unusual features on a hilltop and began excavations. His work was limited by time, as a nearby dam project meant the site would be submerged by 1974. What he uncovered was remarkable. Antimony was buried in the soil alongside copper-smelting furnaces, clay fragments, and strange metal objects. The site may have functioned as an ancient industrial center. Deeper layers revealed more than 40 distinct occupational phases spanning 6,000 years, from early settlements through the Iron Age. Evidence suggests Norepe was wealthy and influential, making its sudden abandonment puzzling. Burn layers indicate a major fire, yet no one returned afterward. Number 6. Magnetized sculptures of ancient Guatemala. Because magnetism isn't supposed to show up in stone statues. Ancient people may not have created magnets, but evidence suggests they understood magnetic behavior. Researchers studying pre-Columbian sculptures in Guatemala found that several stone figures contain naturally magnetized areas. Foreheads, cheeks, and even navels show magnetic properties. These stones likely became magnetized after being struck by lightning. Rather than discarding them, ancient sculptors treated the stones as sacred, carving ornate human figures around them. These sculptures, often called potbelly statues, can exceed 6 feet in height and are carved directly from rock. They are believed to represent deceased members of powerful families. The magnetism may have symbolized continued power after death, with the stone's ability to repel other magnetized objects, acting as a metaphor for enduring authority beyond the grave. All right, it's time for Number 5. France's untranslated rock inscription. Whatever was carved here clearly wasn't meant to be understood easily, or quickly. On a remote beach in Brittany sits a carved rock that has defeated historians for centuries. The inscription contains 20 lines of text, stands 3 feet tall, and can only be accessed when the tide recedes. The writing dates back more than 200 years and appears deliberately encoded. Some letters resemble French characters, though many are reversed or upside down. Others resemble Scandinavian symbols. The inscription includes the dates 1786 and 1787, along with carvings of a sailing ship and a heart. Despite repeated attempts, no academic has successfully translated the message. Some believe the author may have been barely literate, while others suspect intentional encryption. To solve the mystery, the local government has offered a €2,000 reward to anyone who can decode it. Anyone willing to try can request detailed photographs from the mayor's office in Plugastel Daula. Number 4. The Enigma of Puma Punku. This is one of those sites where the math, the tools, and the results refuse to line up. Puma Punku in Bolivia is either the remains of ancient temples or an unfinished monumental complex abandoned mid-construction. Dating back roughly 1,600 years, the site is attributed to the Tiwanaku civilization, which once supported a population of up to 400,000 people before vanishing around the year 1000. The stonework at Puma Punku is unlike anything else from its era. Massive blocks of granite and diorite were carved with extreme precision, featuring sharp angles and perfectly cut joints. The only tools believed to be available to the builders were made of copper, which should not have been capable of such work. Yet the stones appear almost machine-cut. Some believe construction was never completed, explaining the site's confusing layout. Number 3. Oklahoma's Viking runestones. Every so often, a mystery survives simply because no explanation fully wins. Across farmland in Oklahoma, carved stones have sparked a debate that refuses to die. Some claim these rune stones prove Viking settlers once occupied the region. Others dismiss them as 19th century forgeries created when Norse imagery was fashionable. Adding to the confusion, the Heaven runestone discovered in 1923 is believed to have been carved by a Scandinavian immigrant. while another similar stone may be Native American in origin. That means some stones hold genuine historical or artistic value, though not necessarily Viking. In 2007, archaeologist Lyle Thompson analyzed several examples and found that many of the runes don't correspond to Old Norse at all. Some stones turned out to be naturally patterned sedimentary rock, while others were outright fabrications. The evidence strongly argues against a lost Viking settlement, yet the idea hasn't been completely ruled out, keeping the controversy alive. Number 2. The wide-eyed idols of Tel Brak. These figures weren't meant to decorate, they were meant to observe. Hundreds of small alabaster figures unearthed at Tel Brak in Syria have unsettled archaeologists for decades. Known for their exaggerated wide eyes, the sculptures look unlike anything found elsewhere in the ancient world. They were discovered in what is now called the Eye Temple and range in size from just a few centimeters to several inches tall. The city of Tel Brak was inhabited by the Sumerians, Akkadians, and Babylonians before being abandoned around 2000 BCE, making the idols at least 4,000 years old. One theory suggests the eyes symbolized spiritual attentiveness, with worshippers leaving the figures as offerings to remain eternally watchful before their gods. No definitive explanation exists, and no similar artifacts have been discovered outside the region. Number 1. The Pyramid of Kheros and its hidden tunnels. Sometimes the real achievement isn't what ancient builders showed the world. At first glance, the pyramid-shaped site on the Greek island of Kheros already seems extraordinary. Around 4,000 years ago, builders transformed a natural hill by covering it with white marble steps, creating the appearance of a glowing structure rising from the sea. What lay beneath proved even more impressive. Archaeologists uncovered an advanced network of drainage and irrigation tunnels built over 1,000 years before the Minoan palaces of Crete. The metalwork involved exceeded what scholars thought possible for the era. Very little of the marble used occurs naturally on Kheros, meaning nearly 10,000 tons had to be transported from neighboring islands. That would have required more than 3,000 sea journeys. The site was already known for marble sculptures that later inspired artists like Picasso. So that's all from us. We hope you liked the video, and if you do, then don't forget to press the subscribe button for future updates from our channel. Take care, we will meet in the next video.